I'm joined by Sean and Luke from Profiler. Now, it's been a little while since we've spoken about Profiler, and we're going to get a really big update about what the guys have been up to. This is all about controlling your own privacy and really shaking up how advertising works. So this is going to be a really interesting conversation with how this whole thing works. So we're going to get a little bit of a reminder, but then a big update in regards to how and what the team have been up to. But Sean, Luke, welcome back to the podcast.
Thank you very much. It's been a while. Glad to be back.
So for those that may need a refresher, can we get a bit of an overview of what Profiler is first?
Awesome. I'll jump in there and do that. So in 2017, the three of us started on a mission to solve for privacy, and that's always been the game. And back there, I met Michiel first in CERN in Geneva, where we experimented for a year with their privacy department around the future of privacy. And Luke joined us in 2018 also during that project. But then we took another step, and we love research. So we've actually run 3 big research projects in Switzerland and in Europe. The first being with the University of St. Gallen. And the students there actually helped us finalize the magic mix of what Profiler has become. Because in our study of our platform and our business model, we realized 3 things with them: that privacy is valuable, but people don't understand still today, how to manage it. You just click all, or you don't accept anything. So that was an irritation. And second, that data are valuable, but people still don't know how to get the best value for it. Is it a couple of dollars, like a lot of people are saying you can get, or is there more to it? And the third most important part was they want stuff. So like any other internet consumer, if I'm going to share my attention and my data, I want value in exchange. And that's what Profiler is all about. You could call it a bit of a mashup of CRM like Salesforce and Instagram, but with zero surveillance and zero nudging algorithms. Our whole philosophy has been, how do we create a new private relationship between people who want to share data or build data relationships with other people or companies or brands. And that's really where Profiler started to be born and built. And over the years, we've just expanded on how are we going to deliver an awesome UI and UX. And that's what Luke is passionate about, because I think a lot of people, especially in the Web3 space, focus very much on the tech side of privacy preserving technologies, of trustless environments, and on blockchain. We took the other path, understanding what blockchain is delivering for us over the years, but really obsessed as to what is that behavior on the internet actually going to look like in the future. So to sum up where we're at today as part of the refresher, we developed our MVP and we did our alpha trials probably 2 years ago. And I've made a decision to rebuild the entire platform after we got good validation. And that's where we've been a little bit head down in the last year and a bit, and the community has missed us, but we've completed our first round of trials on the beta platform, and we're making great progress in actually integrating some of our Web3 strategy. But we'll leave that for later. Your question really was around what is Profiler. We call it the new data relationship platform, for the future of the internet, where you can use your data in very different ways without surveillance. That's the best.
Wow. Okay. So it sounds like you guys have been incredibly busy doing that research, and to actually change over from your original mission, doing that original MVP, and then essentially rebuilding the platform, it must have been a lot of really good research to make you want to make that business decision to change things over. So can we get into some of the details of what you guys have been changing, what has been implemented, and what the direction is now for the project?
Yeah, for sure. So our key decision was made after we had an external CTO actually come and audit the platform. And with having privacy as a focus, you can't have any gaps or holes. So we took a lot of time in redefining our data architecture, because we always wanted to have a strategy of distributed data, and then a little bit decentralized, which I can discuss later. But when you build traditional platforms, everyone's used to building a centralized, centrally hosted, central database Web2 platform. So we did a lot of thinking around what could a distributed environment look like, and we've actually got a wonderful piece of open source software that we're implementing for our middleware, which was a spin-off of one of the universities in Switzerland, that will really help us put physical control of the data into the individual's hands with consent and fine granular control of the data. So that was the first reason for re-architecting. But then second, we also wanted to build the platform in a way which had much more mature software development practices. So one of our advisors, also Mikko Kotila, he's been in the ad tech industry for many years. He helped us over a 6-month period to actually redocument, redefine, and implement a much more mature DevOps environment. And then through that process, our developers actually also matured in their understanding. And what was a good thing for us is it helped us to cut scope, and it helped us to really focus in on what is important to our mission. So those were, I think, the two key areas that delayed us and made us want to rebuild, so that we can also, at the right parts of the platform, integrate the Web3 components that we need. And I think that's probably a difference between us and maybe some other dApps, is when we're looking at the ad tech world and the high scalability of the customers we're approaching, we can't do everything in a Web3 model yet. Okay, so we had to build some Web2 capabilities which are highly scalable, highly robust, and also slightly centralized, but then with a very clear definition as to which parts of the platform will be decentralized over time. So that's what we've done on the platform rebuild. And so far, we've been able to, as I said, do a few very good beta trials, and we're lining up 1 or 2 bigger brands to hopefully trial with us in the next couple of months. Yeah, and I'll pause there because we've done other research projects which complement our overall digital architecture and AI architecture, but I'll hold off there for a bit. And maybe, Luke, you just want to talk about what we've done on the UI and UX in the last year.
Yeah, so we really started from scratch again. And we thought about the basic premise is for individuals, we want to give them superpowers. And for brands, we want to give them insights. And so we wanted to unclutter the UX as much as humanly possible, and also kind of make it kind of muted so that the brand content actually is what pops. And then on the brand back end, we want to make it very process-oriented and very replicable, and do everything we can to lower the administrative costs for brands to be able to do campaigns, to do the segmentation that they can do that's unique in Profila. So it's kind of figuring out, figure out something that's useful, figure out how to make it powerful, then make it easy. So that's kind of our philosophy on any kind of features, whether it's for individuals or for brands.
You may want to just remind users also how those brands actually engage with the users. I do encourage people to watch the previous interview that I did with you guys, which go in depth in regards to how the platform works. But you might just want to do a quick refresher for the users, listeners on the episode here.
For sure. So our business model is primarily B2B2C. So we're speaking to brands and asking them to invite their customers onto a new platform experience. So instead of tracking them, surveilling them, and trying to guess what they want, our premise is invite customers on, ask them what they want, and let your customer manage their own data set and their preferences on how they engage with you. And that's the new approach, right? Where some brands that we've spoken to are dying for a new source of clean data into their company. So that's our first value add for brands. But what is the value for you as an individual? Well, the whole platform that Luke has designed is that you are our partner. And that's why the privacy preserving tech needs to be implemented so strongly below it, so that you as an individual have no doubt that decisions I make about any bits and bytes of data that get shared is totally under my control. And that's, the direct-to-consumer strategy that Profila has, is building up the confidence in people that there is this place, to go and put my data, my valuable data. Even Profila has to ask permission to be able to help you facilitate analytics and insights. So that's the core premise of the business. But what we do with brands is a data subscription model. And on Profila, importantly, your data are never sold. We don't believe that you should ever sell it. And a couple of our competitors, even though they've got the right strategy, have fallen into the trap of just masking what current data aggregators do. okay, because you're still giving them your data and they're still putting it in a back end and somebody is buying it, right? In Profila, it's only ever leased for a duration and purpose, and we present insights to the brand. And if they actually want to take physical data off the platform, they have to have different legalese that they sign up in a contract. And then once that contract ends, we also automate, a right to be forgotten or a right to delete the data to ensure that they can't persist that data. So we're very cautious around, not focusing too much on making a lot of money out of your data. We don't believe people will out of the actual bits and bytes. It's much more around how do I trade that data with the brand so that I can get the max value from the brand, whether it's an offer or we were discussing last week in the healthcare industry, or if it may be the best, help from a doctor because I've given them in a safe environment the information they need. So that's like the core of the platform. And we've focused on advertising as the low-hanging fruit because that's where a lot of the surveillance problems started. So in the platform is a built-in channel. It's optional for a brand to use, but we believe this private one-to-one space will be appealing. And there a brand can run a normal, simple advertising campaign, highly targeted though, and controlled by you through what Luca has built. A beautiful name for it is Metronome, which is your own preference center. So maybe Luke, just jump on to how Metronome will actually redefine how the current dumb advertising world works.
Yeah. Well, let's step back to our tagline, it's you, it's yours, which is a great summary of it's you, meaning it's the most accurate, authentic, and valuable representation of who you are based on self-discovery quizzes on a variety of topics. And it's yours, meaning you have complete control over who has access to it and what they can do with it and how often they can contact you. And so Metronome is the idea of, let's say Nike subscribes to you, and you don't want to get any company information from them. You only want to get offers. You can actually put that in your Metronome settings for Nike and say, I don't want any company information. And you can send me maybe 2 offers a month, and the platform enforces that. So actually Nike, if they're running a campaign, can see how many people are not going to receive the campaign because they've already kind of oversaturated your feed. And I think that's a big part of Profila is that digital distribution of advertising and email newsletters, things like that, have made brands very lazy and very stupid. Lazy because it doesn't cost anything more to send that extra email to anybody. They can send 1 million extra emails, it doesn't cost anything. The servers are paid for, the bandwidth's paid for. And stupid because they only care about what they can measure, which is things like open rates or click rates, but they can't measure my annoyance at getting more emails than I want. And my only option is to unsubscribe or keep getting it, so I have nothing in between that says, well, give it to me in the cadence that I want. And it could be your product is only useful to me twice a year. That's all you should contact me. But there's no way to tell people that. In Metronome, again, brand by brand or across my entire Profila, I can create those settings and say you can only send me something once a year or once a month or whatever, and it's enforceable. So it's I mentioned before the idea of giving individuals superpowers. That feature, Metronome, is something that I don't think exists anyplace in the world because it kind of goes against. If you're offering a SaaS for brands, it's almost counter to your business model. But we think that our business model is, since it's based on great relationships, that Metronome is a component of that great relationship. Because if you can control the cadence of contact between you and a company, you're going to be happier with them, as opposed to the current paradigm of you're just a receiver and what they know about you is probably inaccurate and unethically sourced, and they don't know how often to contact you to give you the services or products you want.
I have to jump on there, Peter, too, because what I love about this approach is, we want to bring back that anxiety as a little bit of good anxiety, say, hey, when am I going to get that next, great piece of content from a brand that I really love, other than wasting 4 or 5 hours in endless mindless scrolling. So that's what we're trying to get rid of. And also that improves a brand's ROI. Okay, and that's our North Star is 100% click-through rate. I was amazed, that brands are happy with 4, 12%, on these open platforms. Whereas if Peter or somebody has told me exactly what I want to see, and I see that, I'm going to engage with the content. And that is the only time on the platform we will nudge you, is if you flip past something that you agreed to see, Metronome will prompt you and say, well, don't you want to see that anymore? Because now you're wasting your own time or the brand's money because they've put a piece of content in front of you. So it is counterintuitive, but our obsession is with lifetime value of the customer relationship and retention. It's not on these vanity metrics of how many impressions or daily active users I have. It's much more around quality engagement.
Yeah, customer acquisition is sexy. Customer retention is profitable. That's what we tell brands.
Mm.
And I think we should put a specific example out there, Peter. So imagine you've got a mature Profila and you've taken a lot of the travel quizzes about your preferences of locations and the pace, the kind of activities you like to do on holidays, whether it's a day trip or a weekend away or whatever. And a company that has thousands and thousands of package tours subscribe to you, they don't have to worry about you searching for the right tour that you want to go on their website. They can take what they've learned about you and say, okay, well, of our thousands and thousands, here are the 10 that are perfectly aligned with what Peter likes to do on holiday, and we're going to give him a special offer on that. They've saved money in terms of not having to spray and pray and how they want to essentially scream into your inboxes to get your attention, and you're getting stuff that's instantly relevant for you, and it's not creepy because you told them. That data subscription, you told them what was interesting for you and what you liked, what was in your head and what was in your heart, and they can respond to that in a private environment. Again, that doesn't exist now, but it should. So I think, and Sean always laughs when I say this, we're going to look back and realize how dumb marketing is now. Because it's based on bad data, because that's the only thing brands have. So I don't blame brands for using the tools and the data they have because they don't have anything better. And I think one perspective I bring to this, I'm actually a political scientist by education, so I don't have a background in marketing or tech, but a very philosophical view of agency and sovereignty and personal privacy. There's not much that we can do, not much anybody can do with the current paradigm of how advertising and social media work. There's no law that can be passed. There's nothing that anyone can do with that paradigm. What we're saying is we can change the paradigm by giving people the possibility of creating a better data source that anybody can find about them. So if a brand says, why are we going to pay a third party for bad, unethically sourced, out-of-date information about you when we can pay you a little bit and get the best ongoing? So not just a snapshot, but actually ongoing as your preferences, including travel preferences, change over the course of our lives and actually grow with the customers. That simply doesn't exist. So at some point, brands will go, of course this is a better way. Of course this is a better tool. Of course this is better data. We're going to go with this. So I think that's our challenge is how to begin, how to get that first big brand. And we want our magic moments. We always talk about magic moments. For individuals, we want it to be after that first interaction with the brand that's invited them. We want them to say, my gosh, why can't I do this with every brand in my life from one data source? And for brands, we want them to get into this and run campaigns and see the ROI and see just the efficiency and effectiveness of it and go, why aren't we doing this with all of our customers? And if we solve those two magic moments on both sides of kind of the networking effect, then I think we could go from very, very small to very large very quickly.
This is really cool. It really does sound and feel like a overpowered email subscription campaign. I know I'm simplifying it there, but it's like being able to really fine tune every last subscription that I have out there and only get what I want. So I really, really do love that kind of targeting. I do a lot of email marketing for clients as well. And yeah, you're right. It's like 5% CTR is good. If they get 10% open rate and click-through rates, wow, that's amazing. I've got only one client that has a 50% open rate on all of their emails, which is phenomenal. But they're very niche stuff and have a very loyal following. So
I think a question for you. In those instances, do they send out the same email to everybody, or do they have any segmentation to say, here's our women customers, here's our men customers?
No segmentation. Yeah, and if they segmented that and really refined it, because it's a hair salon and yoga studio, there's two different types of customers there already. If they segmented that and then refined it into male and female as well, they could get even higher click-through rates. Because I'm not into the whole new age stuff.
The tools are making them lazy with these sort of things because it doesn't force them to do that. And again, they can't measure the annoyance and the inefficiency of it. So we care about what we can measure, but what we measure is not often the most important thing.
So this is really exciting where you guys have taken this all to. Now, I did have a couple of questions in regards to what you guys were saying a little bit earlier. So, Sean, earlier you were mentioning that uh, you're decentralizing this data, and I'd really like to understand how the blockchain aspect works on the platform.
Yeah.
How's the data being decentralized? How it's being stored? How you're using Cardano in that background, and all those aspects. So that I would love to dig into.
Perfect. I'll keep it as simple as possible because we've got a well-defined strategy for our Web3 integration. So the first area we'll start is with digital identities. So we have what we call a digital identifier for an individual and for a brand. And then we're looking at a newer strategy, which some other layer ones have already matured, on having as many spawned sub-identities as needed, to represent a data set. So let's say I'm Sean and I have a travel data set, a health data set. Then we want different identifiers for those. Then obviously we can share data between a brand and a person in a much more convenient and privacy preserving way. But as a lot of people know, not any personal data should be on a public blockchain for sure. So we've got a data distribution strategy. Phase one, it starts in a centralized environment. Phase two, that we've already planned, and that data middleware that I spoke to you about, will help people to make the choice to say, well, I want my profiler on a cloud in my own country, or I'm happy with my profiler being on RPFS or IOGON, one of these decentralized data infrastructures. And that's the difference where I think people get confused, is the distribution of data is very different to decentralization of data decisions, if you want. So we'll go as far as allowing you to store your profiler on your own phone if you want to. And then what will be on contract or on chain will be the smart contracts that we've already developed on Aiken. We'll be going to testnet with them pretty soon on Cardano. And that's a smart contract for your data subscription. And that's where we'll keep the brand honest and the individual honest, because it's important to the brand to know, that they have the consent and they've got the rights to access my data for duration and purpose. So that smart contract is vitally important to this new data sharing economy. We're looking at how we can improve that over time for speed, scalability, and also pricing. But the fundamentals of the contract and why we use blockchain is embedded in that. All right. And then the second area we have is a native token on the platform. We call it Zeke for zero knowledge. And our mascot is a cool St. Bernard. But that utility token and payment token, as defined legally here in Switzerland, will be used to reward people for good behavior on the platform. And what is good behavior? It's building a data set which are valuable to companies that you've decided to share it with. So we know that habit is a little bit new. Like Luke said, building a profile of myself is a little bit different to logging in and somebody else profiling me. And that's the main, reward use case for our token, is we're encouraging people to build a data set that's valuable. And then later, we've got some fantastic concepts of how people can receive payment for their data in our token or in USDT if they want and they don't like the risk side. And we can also use the token to do things like rights assertions on the platform, privacy rights assertions to any brand in the world, to be able to control your data itself. So those are the three key areas of use of Web3. We do have a beautiful NFT use case, which will only be launching towards the end of the year or early next year. And I'll touch on that very briefly, just so that people can see the expanse of the project. But we have a feature which will be allowing consumers to share content with the brand. And that's consumer-generated content like we have on social. But in this environment, it's much more private to a company. And what we're going to allow the company to do is to say, well, I like that piece of content, and they will mint the content from the user. Make an offer, make a bid to lease it or purchase it from the individual. Same like your data contract, but then actually mint that piece of content as an NFT and use it from their own customers and consumers. And we've spoken to a lot of the creator economy, and nobody's really solved that. There's a lot of verticalized industries around the NFTs for content, but we're looking at taking it a bit of a different approach where it's more in the hands of the purchaser versus the seller. But yeah, those are the 3 or 4 key use cases we have for Web3 at this stage.
That last one sounds very interesting. And I'm just trying to imagine what type of contents would be produced for the brands. The first thing that came to mind was customer reviews or something like that they could use, but then it kind of led to like even like YouTube content and video reviews and things like that.
Luke can jump in here.
Yeah, I remember one thing we talked about with a brand was the idea if they ran a campaign, let's say they had a new alcohol coming out, and they ran a campaign that let people create their own cocktails and record them explaining the cocktail. Then the brand could either license those video contents for their own advertising, or even actually repurpose that within Profila. And we had the idea of, let's say, Peter, that you developed a cocktail. They could then distribute that as maybe one of the winners to their other Profila users that are similar to you in whatever, whether it's geographically or demographically or even psychographically, to have the most impact for their campaign. Hey, here's someone like you. Here's what they did with our new alcohol and the cocktail they came up with. And so both for kind of inside Profila advertising, but also outside as well, because brands sometimes use customer content, but there's no good way to license it and to aggregate it for brands.
So yeah, most brands just take the content and just publish it, and they're, sorry.
That's what I was going to say, Peter, is at the moment, a good creator puts their content onto Instagram. Firstly, Instagram benefits. Then the brand gets light of it once it's got a million followers, for example. And then the brand decides, like you said, either just to repost it or take advantage of it. Whereas if you've built a relationship with this customer and you've got a group of people who are genuinely creating good content for you, on Profila, you can cultivate that first. And then it's a fair one-to-one discussion around, I'm giving you my data, you're giving me some value back, then they can use it on open media. But the use case can go across any industry, because in the travel industry, for example, we spoke to a big hotel group, and if I'm on a beautiful holiday and I capture the most awesome scene that they might want to use in a campaign, it's small things like that. So we're not talking about NFTs that cost hundreds and hundreds of thousands. We're talking about lots of consumer content, which brands want nowadays. You're in advertising, and I think the speed of advertising creative is changing, and it's becoming much more rapid. In the old days, you would sit back and plan a campaign for 6 months. Now you've got to plan a campaign almost daily or weekly. So if you've got this feed of content coming from people who actually love your brand, and those are the only ones that will be on Profila, by the way, because if they've taken the effort to build a relationship in a private space, you'll get something cool from them.
Okay, this is really cool. You guys have really changed the platform quite a bit, and some of these things really excite me as well. The decentralized storage, being able to control your data on a really granular level, and then all these different ways that the Web3 space is integrated in, and this advertising side of things, content creation. That's what I do. So it really hits the right spots for me. So I absolutely love what you guys are doing. The token sounds quite interesting as well. So it seems like it's evolved a little bit there, and being paid in the token for the value and all that's provided with the platform sounds really good too. So I'm looking forward to that. But when is this all going to be in place? When can I actually see the platform? When can I start engaging with it myself?
So that's been our Achilles in the last year while rebuilding, but we will be launching for actual brand trials in the next quarter. We're speaking to a few bigger brands, and we've put our pitches into them to actually run mini campaigns with us. And we did our first tests in January already. And so we will be generating revenue on the platform, real revenue, within this year. Okay, and then the token itself will be released to the market in either before or after the summer, because we've had pre-seed and private investors up until now, and we're considering the best mechanism to take the public token to market within the next couple of months. So we're geared up now, and we've got everything we need, and we believe, plus a bull market to actually get people to understand us. And I think, Peter, from last time, something I need to say is that people were very distracted with the infrastructure of Web3 and with DeFi and with so on. where dApps or other use cases like ours, we're outliers. But every time we speak to real companies and people in the Web3 community now, they're seeing that this is a real life use case that solves the biggest problem, of privacy, data sharing, and still allowing brands to give me nice stuff. So we are getting better attention than we used to in the past, and this year will be the year that we go mainstream.
All right. Really exciting year. So we should be looking forward to some sort of token launch mid-year-ish.
Yes,
and then,
either before or after the summer. So it's a big decision we're about to make. So you'll hear it soon.
So it's for myself, summer just ended. So different hemispheres.
Okay. Sorry, in Europe, yeah. So
yep.
June or August, yeah, around those times. Either Rare Evo or a previous prior event. But we're trying to get market timing correct, but also just readiness of all of this maturity in the platform, integration of the Web3. So a lot of things have to come in line to be able to have a successful event.
Yeah, and one other note on the token, every feature in our pipeline, everything out, months and years, part of the process is figuring out how will Zeek flow through this feature. Is it something that you need to use your tokens to purchase or to license or whatever, or are you gaining, are you earning? So it is the circulatory system, it is the nervous system of the entire platform. So it's not just a token that supports us or helps us raise. It is part of the platform, and it's essential to how these things are going to work in the future.
Yeah, you find a lot of platforms launch a token, but the token has nothing to do with the usage of the platform.
Yeah.
Like businesses don't even touch it.
So it's the questions of here's a new feature. What's the value and to who? Okay, who should be compensating who for this? And we want enough kind of burn and earn scenarios that you're adding your Profila because it's going to allow you to subscribe to an influencer in the future. Once we add some of the marketplace things as well, so I think it's absolutely essential, and it has been from the beginning. That it was going to be existential for the platform.
One of the really interesting user experiences for a lot of Web3 platforms is trying to hide that Web3 factor, like the wallets, the digital identities, and all these extra technical things that a lot of companies just don't want to know about. How have you guys tackled that approach? Like, will a business need to open up some sort of digital identity wallet or Web3 wallet, or would they be able to move through the platform seamlessly without touching any of the Web3-ish kind of things?
Absolutely. I'll let Luke jump in afterwards. But from a technical side, for brands, we're starting off with traditional business. The creation of their wallet will be custodial initially, and we will move to an approach later where advanced brands or advanced users even can take back their wallets and their keys to non-custodial if they are capable of managing it. Because we've had to do the grandmother test, So some of our users will be on the platform, will not have a clue about wallets and attaching. But we are very cognizant of the fact that brands are also skeptical of the Web3 and crypto related business. So that will be traditional. But then when you get your payout, and remember something we didn't mention again, but between 50 and 90% of all revenue from brands goes to the individual. Similar to Brave, but even better, I think. Your data subscriptions, that goes through to the individual. And the scale improves, the better quality your data set is. Okay, so that gamification is reward you with tokens, get a better quality data set. The brand is super happy. You're not wasting their money. They're getting great click-through. Then you get up to 90%, and we just become a transaction platform. Same for the advertising, is that it's your attention on that beautiful piece of content, so you get rewarded for that. But that will be seamless for the brand. They can pay us in fiat. We'll convert either to like a USDT or our token for the individual to take their payment. And then the connecting wallet approach has become pretty simple now for people who understand how to take cash off of our platform through USDT or the token itself to a native Cardano wallet or to another wallet that supports USDT. That's why we're trying to stabilize on those two at this stage.
Yeah, the thing I would add is, my mother, I built it for my mother. And the first time my mom used a computer, she took the mouse and she put it on the monitor. on the screen
Oh
moving
boy.
around. That's how she thought it.
Oh boy.
And I remember, I was a teenager at the time, and I still think about that, and she still laughs about it. But the idea of my mom can use this, and I talk to my mom all the time about features, and if I can explain it to her, and she understands it, then I know we're doing a pretty good job.
We had a podcast just the other day, though, too, and it's some of the community has seen the platform, and they're already calling it out to say that, they can see we've spent a lot of time on the usability. And somebody asked me, well, how are you going to train people about blockchain? We say we don't. We're not going to talk about it. It's just going to be like a normal app. They'll see a ledger. They'll see that they've got something to cash out. Eventually, the only learnings will be, how do I cash out a token? But with countries and banks doing digital wallets and currencies, people have to learn that one step anyway in the future. But the rest we want to keep transparent, so that individuals know what's there if they want to dig. Otherwise, the experience needs to be simple.
Yeah, and I always draw inspiration from Apple. Every time that a new feature comes out in an iPhone, people say, "Oh, Android had this 3 years ago," and I'll go, "Well, yeah, it was 9 steps. Apple made it one, and then you don't even realize it's a step." So they put that skin on it, whether it's it's AirPlay or how iCloud works across devices. It just works. So you don't have to think about it. There's no settings. There's no configuration. It just works, and that's their brilliance. So I take inspiration from that as saying, I don't care. I personally don't care what the technology is behind it. I just want to know what it can do for me, and make it easy.
Brilliant, guys. That's the perfect response, I think, and perfect approach for onboarding Web3 users without them even knowing.
Yeah.
Now, guys, is there anything else that we need to know that you guys are hiding in the background here? Because you've been working for a while.
Nuggets to throw at you now. I was going to ask for a moment because we may have mentioned on the last chat, but we've been doing an AI project for the last 2.5 years. It was funded by the Swiss government, up to 1 million francs value, with the University of Lucerne, and we're taking handover of that in March. And the nice next phase of our strategy is that intersection of AI and Web3. Because what we've built with them, and this was pre the OpenAI hype, okay, we started this project, but we've built a smart knowledge base for privacy and privacy policies. And what these professors have actually invented is a novel approach to semantic search. But on top of that is a new way for NLPs to be able to extract data, okay? Because at the moment, that's the problem with natural language processing, is that it interprets the data set and presents an answer. But when you're dealing with law, and we've even got a knowledge base of crypto law, you have to extract exact references, putting it into context of the question that the person asked. So those are two things that we were actually awarded for this paper last year, and the university is very proud of it. And we were actually now, through another Swiss government and German government-sponsored entity, we're hiring 5 students out of the universities in Ghana who have got AI, Web3, and data expertise, and they're going to take this project further for us, integrating those Web3 smart contracts that I mentioned to you and this AI capability. Because my vision for this is that people should be able to talk to their own data in the future. If you remember, Profila is helping you build a data set which represents you, will allow you to pull in insights from Spotify, from your bank accounts, from wherever. And somebody even said the other day, well, I want my ledger of DeFi transactions somewhere else so that I can communicate with it. And that's the capability we have now, is that your knowledge base will be your own data set. And can you imagine talking to it over the years and saying, well, what did I do 3 years ago? What was my preference? Or give me a summary of the last 5 places I visited, or the last 20 web pages I looked at. And that's what we're going to enhance this AI project into being, all with Luke's philosophy of make it simple, stupid, so that you can have a conversation with your data. I think we'll be the world first in that.
Having a conversation with your data. That sounds so strange, but I like it.
Cool.
Yeah, I do like it. So we'll watch that space evolve, and I'll keep an eye on what you guys are doing there. But do please tap me on the shoulder when you have a little bit more to showcase in regards to that AI project. It sounds very, very interesting.
Will do. Other than that, it's pleased that we're re-engaging with the community. We're improving, our spaces, so we will have much more time on X and on LinkedIn and Telegram. We've got a cool new team on board who's helping us to reignite the community's passion. And thank you to Peter and for the work that you guys do in helping people understand and learn about Cardano. But this is the year that people who have been following Profila will see that we're alive and ready, and probably one of the better use cases, I think, for Web3.
All right, super exciting, guys. I will grab links, put them all in the show notes down below. So if people want to dig more into Profila and also keep up to date with this possible future upcoming announcements, being able to get their hands on the platform and watch your token launch as well. So all super exciting things for 2024 for you guys.
It is.
But Sean, Luke, thank you so much for joining me again on the podcast and talking through everything that you guys have been doing.
Thank you very much. Appreciate you.
Awesome. We'll speak again soon.
Yeah, gotta do it like that. You've been listening to the Learn Cardano podcast. Gotta get it hype. Crypto is what we like, but this is not investment or financial advice. Gotta do your research, cause it's risky. We know it is. This show is educational and it's informative. Crypto's the future, really, it ain't no debate.